Can anybody hear me now? Test, test, 1, 2. There, finally. Good Lord. Okay. So the OBS Studio, when it did an update, it deleted my microphone. Okay, thank God. Here we go. Unbelievable. Okay. Sorry, guys. We finally got it worked out. Hallelujah. It only took 50 minutes. Okay, here we go. Hallelujah. How's everybody? Everybody doing all right? All right, perfect. Here we go. Let's dive into some charts here. All right. Let's see. Joe, I'm going to let you kind of start out a little bit. All right. Golly, we got a lot of things to talk about. Okay. So, guys, I'm here with Joe Marshall, and we've known each other for quite a while, and I wanted to, kind of like get us together here so we can share some stuff and look at some stuff. And I know everybody's got questions on where Bitcoin's going. Is it going to hit 10,000 or is it dropping to 5,000, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, we're going to try to delve into that and answer some questions. So, Joe, I'm going to let you kind of take it away here a little bit and go ahead and start.
Okay, I was just going to see if my new mic working okay. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you guys hear Joe? Go ahead and say something, Joe. Nope, can't hear you now. Nope, can't hear you, Joe.
Okay, well, I was trying using my mic now back on the phone. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. Well, that's crazy. Okay, I wanted to be able to use the mic, but okay. Well, yeah, I don't know what chart you have up or where you want to start or go, or.
Well, your chart is the one that's showing right now. So if you want to kind of go into some of the stuff you've been looking at, and then we'll take a look at my stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just had the daily RSI up, and the reason being is that we're tried several times here. We have a high, lower high, and another lower high, and then we're working on one right now. And if we come through this uptrend line and kind of pass through the 50, we could come down and retest a little bit more price wise.
Oh,
just kind of use that to see what they're doing.
Sure.
So, and then, we were worried about that forever, that 116. We definitely got, a pop over it, a close. And then, really my target was 130 here, because we had a type of formation we had. When it broke out, that'd give us a confirmation of 130. And then we have quite a bit of resistance over to the left side of the chart in that 130 zone as well. But we got to stay in the teens at least here. And we could, now that I have the moving averages, that we come back as long as we respect this 20-day moving average, about 107. Now, if we get a full body close under it, I might rethink things. But if we were lucky enough to get a pullback to that area, that might be a spot for, not financial advice, and it might be a spot to reload or add to, for the next little run up.
Sure.
So, and then also we need, a little bit better volume coming in. These 3 days I really love. It was stair step up. Each day we, got a little bit more volume, and as you see, we, came up pretty nice. That, hit all this high pivot, double top resistance, and then had a pullback here almost above the 20, or it probably was above the 20 when that closed, and then, this little indecision candle here, but it didn't lose, momentum. It stuck with the support area, and then, the rest is history.
Yeah, it's, it almost looks really kind of like, I'll come over here in a little bit. I mean, everybody knows where resistance is, right? It's right here. That it takes no brains to see that. There's your top right there. And once you break that, then you got, I would say if Litecoin breaks this area right here, it's probably got another 20 or 30 points in it. $20, $30 at the minimum.
Right, yeah.
That's just, that is built up. Like, people are shorting it right in here, and if that breaks, they're going to have to cover, and we know what happens when people have to cover. So, the moving averages still look good. Let me see here. I'm going to point out something real quick. And I think I did a Litecoin simple chart somewhere in here. Maybe not. Here's my daily. Yeah. And see, I had kind of, mine's a little, people might have to here, I'll scroll in just a little bit. This is a daily chart. And the moving averages are very similar to yours, Joe. Yeah, so there's, that's why I said I liked the price action on Litecoin instead of Bitcoin, right? I don't like the price action on Bitcoin one bit for obvious reasons. But the only problem is that Bitcoin could drag down Litecoin and Ethereum. That's the only problem with this, is that right here on the daily chart, you've got, that's not an evening star, so that's not like a major downer, but that's a reversal pattern if it closes out this way. And we're right here at resistance, a fib cluster. We're just holding this area. Get over here and look at this, okay? And I've been talking about it since probably early in the week, but this is what I'm watching right here, guys. Okay, and I'm telling you right now, that is a big time reversal pattern. When you get up days, green sticks, and all of a sudden you get indecision right here with a doji, and then all of a sudden it's followed by a red stick, that's a reversal pattern. That just tells you that it's going lower, right? I'm not saying that it can't just like you get a green stick next week and all of a sudden we're right up in here about 8,100, right? And everybody gets bullish again. But at some point, it's going to sell back off, right? And come back down. And I think eventually going to test the 10 EMA on the weekly chart. See, here's the 10 EMA. We haven't even tested the 10 EMA on the weekly chart. So, that's my point on this whole thing is that, and it goes all the way back to here. You go back and look at the weekly chart back here. Look what happens. You come back and you test EMAs. You come back and test them. They were testing the 10 and the 20 all the way up, right? So look what happens here. Do you think we're not going to test the 10 and the 20 on the way up again? Everybody likes to talk about how this looks like back here, but you got to go back here and look at and see what happened, right? Tested the 10, tested the 20, boom, tested the 10, tested the 20, boom, and it comes back and it keeps testing it. So for people to think that we're not going to we're just going to rocket right back up in here, that's fool's game in my opinion. We're coming back and we're going to test the 10 and we're going to test the 20 at some point. So that's all I'm saying. You agree with that, Joe?
Right, yeah. Right, goes forward, resistance is support. Former support is going to be resistance, yeah.
Yeah, and the moving averages as well. I mean, they've got to test them.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, I love this right here. Look at the 50. See how that thing, when it got below it, that was resistance? And then look right now, we're above it. But right now, and this is why I said we're never, I mean, I'm not going to say never, but since we started this bull market, we're not going to see sub 5,000. I don't see it. I mean, unless there's some drastic news that comes out that says Bitcoin's a fraud and you all got screwed and yada yada, and the government says we're done with it and shutting it down, But I just don't see us going below this level right here. I don't see us going below 50. I'm going to raise it now. I'm going to say 5,600. I don't see us going below that. And if we do, it's going to be a wick that'll be bought into, I think. But this little pattern right here tells me that we're coming down and we're testing the 10 EMA and maybe we're going to fill the gap. Okay. I'm just telling you, we're going to fill that gap that's out there. And, that's just how I see it right now, at least. That's just me. So, anyway. So that's me. Okay, what else you got, Joe? I got your chart back up.
Okay, I'm just going to show them right quick the CME futures. And I had this gap up here. Then we came back and filled it into this area. And gapped up all these gaps were filled, and then we came down. The lowest was on the June 4th. If I put that back up there, June 4th came down, but we still have to come down here to this. I think it's 71.80, something like that.
Yeah.
That still needs to be filled between. What was the low here? Between 74.35. And 71.80, this whole yellow area here still needs to be filled for this price to go down and do what they call the gap fill.
Right.
And believe it or not, this got filled. This got filled here from 6,400 up.
Right.
By that big slam down day that we had. Matter of fact, it came down past, that gap support or gap fill. So now there is one that goes. I have this yellow line down here that goes back. I don't know if it'll. Hopefully not, but maybe so. I mean, it goes back to February 15th this year. Between here and this candle up here that opened at 3,600. So between 35.70, the high, 35.7, June 35.70 and 35.95. So about
it's doing it's. I mean that was my fear with Bitcoin is like, and that's why I said it better do something by Sunday to reverse this pattern that it was doing, because it's you can see it right now. Things are starting. Look at those moving averages cross over.
Yeah.
And the 10 EMA now is resistance. So, I'm just telling people right now, if you see Bitcoin, you better watch that 10 EMA, or in your case, Joe, the 12. Either one is fine, but on any up move, it will be resistance. Okay, so that's your play. Okay, is that you want to see it get back above that to start the bullish case again. Right now, I posted earlier that we've got a head and shoulders, and I just see that Shenik, he just, it's an ugly head and shoulders on the daily chart. It really is. I'll pull it up real quick. I'll show you. I posted it on Twitter. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me go over here. Here we go. I mean, this is nasty. I mean, this is just brutal. And this is what we need, though, to fill that gap. I don't like gaps left behind. And Joe, I know you look at the CME, but I look at the CBOE. And my Thinkorswim's going through some updates right now, so I'm gonna have to let it before I can show you guys. But here we go. I mean, you got a head, you got a left shoulder, you got a right shoulder. And what happens and if you guys don't know, in head and shoulders patterns, is the left shoulder gets the highest volume, right? There's your high volume. You get decreasing volume going into the right shoulder. And that's exactly what we've got, right? So we need to watch this, guys. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see it a little bit better, because I know it's kind of hard to see. But let me zoom in, and there she is. And let's just throw this on here. All right, there's your neckline. May take it a second to update. There we go. But there's your neckline. So a drop below it, and it drops down to here. And I'm watching the 61.8 retracement. And if that fails, we're coming down to 7,100, where the 50 EMA is, right? Which could meet up with the 78.6 retracement, which, the 78.6 is usually a pretty good reversal point for a bounce. So,
no, I guarantee you we're going to hit that 6,800.
Oh yeah, it's almost seems like it's a given right now. And now I got my Thinkorswim charts. I think, let me log in. Finished its updates. And I'll show you the CBOE futures, because I've got an open gap still. And those are two totally separate exchanges, folks. But I'll show you mine as soon as it finishes doing what it's doing. Joe, go ahead if you got something. I'm going to get my futures chart working.
Yeah, for a while we were forming a ascending triangle,
Mm-hmm.
and high percentage of the time they break to the high side.
Yeah.
And whenever, of course, none of these formations, patterns, or whatever actually count until they break out or form, but you can kind of, just possibly forecast, future price trends if you're able to pinpoint these different formations and patterns. But anyway, what I've learned is that when one of these patterns or formations break to the opposite side, whether it's up or down,
Yeah.
it moves real hard, real fast.
Yeah. True that.
Sometimes
totally agree.
And so, yeah, this is, let me see if I can get
It's getting ready to hit some stops here. I mean, they're hitting stops right now. I mean, and if it hits below 7,500, you're going to see a big swoon right down to 7,000. I mean, it's going to happen.
Right, and the breakout projection on this one, I have it at 6,500, 6,528. Let's just call it 6,500 target if this plays out.
Yeah.
If we don't get a good... Now, I'm telling you, when it is at 50, we should get a nice little bounce there because, it's right at 7,000. A whole round number. The market loves that.
Yeah.
Market loves, hitting these larger moving averages. So, that's two factors. Number three, yes, some, previous, support over here. And then whatever the, fifth line up at, if they come in here, that's going to be a factor as well.
Yep.
So, I'm not going to say that's going to be a brick wall that we bounce off of and go up to, to 20,000, but
right.
We should get a nice little relief rally there, short covering rally at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And then, continue up. And then after that, then I would come in, play a trend line. And that's what a lot of people forget about. We still have, like you were saying, not only the moving averages, but all the other places where there was support, that's now going to be, resistance area too.
Yeah.
So once we get 50, we got to come up through this, resistance area here, this down trend line, the moving averages. So it's going to take some work. It's going to take some volume, stair-step volume, to do that. Not that it can't, but, and it could take a month. The whole month of June could be a down month for crypto.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. Totally agree. And
then the only thing that's standard, actually, Litecoin of the coins, I watch Litecoin. Honestly, chart-wise is the strongest, right now, chart-wise and structure-wise regarding the moving averages and stuff. And then next after that is Theta, because we're still above, the main three moving averages there. And then this new one, relatively new, the space metric.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and doesn't have enough time on the chart to even put up a 50, but it's at least above the 20 and the 12.
Yeah.
So, the ones I watch, everything else, and unfortunately, this DigiBuy, it just can't catch a break.
No, it really can't. It's just...
oh my goodness, okay, see, I drew that yellow line earlier.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
As the next pivot area
Yep.
or support area, we're just like driving through that. Matter of fact, honestly, I think this thing's going to come back down to the breakout where it broke out.
Sure.
Here.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's a fugly looking chart right there. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to pull over on mine real quick. I'm going to pull it over. I got my CBOE futures chart up, and look at this, guys. Here you go. Okay. We're going to, I mean, here we go. We gapped. I mean, even though that wick is there, right? If I was to switch it to a 4-hour chart, we gap down. But right now on a daily, it doesn't look like it. But here's the gap right here. And look what's right here. Okay. You got your 20 and 50 coming. I mean, they're almost in sync and trying to meet right where the gap is, right? Is that not strange? Look at this. I'm going to... went too far. Here we go. I'm zooming in so you can see it. But this is Chicago Board of Exchange. Here's the gap right here. And nobody else sees this, but I do, right? Look at this. 64.32. There's your gap. All right, we got gap support. We also got 78.6 retracement support at 73.01. Okay, so 7,300, and then below that, it's coming down to gap support at 60. Well, let's call it 6,800 ish, and then the gap fills at 64 ish somewhere. But I think this is where we're ultimately heading. And then if you look at the moving average up here, that was resistance, the 100-day moving average on the futures chart. Right there. Big time resistance. But the Bollinger Bands, at least on this chart, and it's the weekly chart, you just, anytime price gets way outside of those Bollinger Bands, and look where it got outside of them, it can't sustain it. It just can't. And so if you guys have Bollinger Bands, or if you don't have them on your chart, you should. Because when you start seeing these little spikes and momentum, and it's like, yeah, it can hang out there for a little bit, but at some point it's going to pull back inside it. Okay? It just has to. It's the law of averages. It's going to pull back inside, and that's what happens. That's the weekly on it. So let me switch over to the daily. Okay, and here's the daily. And my squeeze indicator is almost at flat right now, right? See the blue bars? When you see those blues, that just means you're retracing. You're going to start retracing. These light colored ones, that's when you're in a bull trend, especially when you got the green dot at the bottom. That just means you're in a bullish trend. But now I'm almost suspecting, and I think that one just turned red. Hang on. I'm kind of colorblind. Yeah. So when I get a red dot, that just means stay away. Just don't do nothing. But when I start seeing these blue bars like this, because the lighter colored bars will last usually that's about 7 to 8 bars, right? That you're going to get bullish moves. And then after that, you want to get out. You're done, right? And then wait for it to retrace, because it's going to do it. And then you can pick your spot. But right now we're almost at the flat, right? Almost flat on the blue. So this could be, and here's what can happen, right? So I'll scroll back. You start getting this. Red bars, right? When you start seeing those, that's when you stay the hell out. You just don't even mess with it. Where, the 78.6 is. So if you want to call, here's a call. You could see, okay, right here at some point, real close to about 7,300-ish, you could see a bounce back up, maybe into here, and maybe we form that right shoulder. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. I'm not calling it. That's just a guess, right? But based on the chart, head, shoulder, possible shoulder right here, should bounce up and then eventually go down and fill the gap. That's how I see it, at least, just eyeballing it. I don't know that that's going to happen, but we'll see. Questions? Okay, so S-Finder, so what if the head and shoulders doesn't form? Well, if it doesn't form, then it doesn't form, right? And then it turns into something else. I mean, this could be just a consolidation before we break out, right? But if we break out, we should see massive volume and then rocket right higher, right? So right now we're watching support zones. And to me, I've said, and I said this before, Adam, yes. To me it is. Yeah, that's the last gap right there. That's the last gap to fill. And I think it's going to fill. Whether that happens tonight, tomorrow, next week, it's going to happen. And I really hope it does, because I hate open gaps. I hate them. Can't stand them. And when I saw that one from back here, I mean, my ultimate theory and hope for Bitcoin was that it would do what I call an island gap. And that's when you get like right back in here. I think I mentioned it. Okay. And I really thought it might do it. We got this gap right here, and I'm circling it, right? Broke out of that gap, right? We gapped up. We broke out of this area. We could go a lot higher, but then we met freaking huge resistance right in here, and that's driving it right back down. So right now it's a big time battle. And now, unfortunately, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, still, but I would not want to see that. I really don't, because at some point it's going to fill, and it'll leave that doubt in my mind that down the road it's got to fill it. But right now, I mean, it looks like short term, like in the next few days, that we could get like a bounce off the lower Bollinger Band right here, maybe tonight, tomorrow, and then bounce off of it, and then somewhere up in here, the upper Bollinger Band, I mean, and the 10 EMA, we got to watch it, right? That's going to be the resistance. And it's going to be resistance right now, too, because it's right there. And in fact, I'll give you a number. It's sitting at 79.30. So let's just call it 8,000. Let's just call it 8,000 is what I think Bitcoin needs to get back above to really get this thing back on track and going in the right direction. So, okay. Anyway, enough of that. Joe, what do you got? I got your chart back up.
Oh, man. I'm just looking at the weekly, and we have a lot of sideways consolidation here. Of course, we cut through it in 1 week like a knife. Then we came back and retested it and then moved up. So should we get, which I think we're going to get going in the next week, because this candle, I'm Central Time. We still have an hour and a half on this candle. Then we're going to start a new candle.
Right.
So I could see us coming down, another week easy. And, this might be the week we come down, and this trend line here goes all the way back to as far as this chart. This is the bid stamp chart. Mm-hmm. I think it goes back all the way to when they started, targeting this thing. Yeah, it goes all the way to 2011. I know it kind of started in 2009, but as far as this chart is, it goes back 2011, real strong trend line here. And so a lot of times, I mean, that's just perfect classical and technical analysis. You break a trend line, come back, retest it, sometimes spike below it, and then continue up. So the next weekly close, after we hit it above it, that's going to be real bullish. And then if we ever get across this 20 and the 50, that's going to be a second confirmation, that things are, possibly going our way now.
Yeah, I can't keep my eyes off that candle reversal pattern. I'm sorry, I really can't. It's just sticks out in my mind like a sore thumb right now. I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, I've seen that before, and I'm like, and there's been times in the past where, sure, they can fail, they can, and a lot of times you need some, confirmation, that it's actually a reversal, but I tend to lean on the side of being cautious. And I'm not one that's, I will not be buying Bitcoin into that pattern. I promise you.
No.
I will be, and I told the guys last night I'm sitting in 70% cash, and that's where I'm staying. I'm going to stay there, I mean, probably for the next week. I mean, unless something changes drastically. But, you know, I'm keeping cash on the sidelines. I just think this thing's it's going to come down and test moving averages. After a huge move like we've had, and this has been a huge move, right? If you look at the percentages of this, it's been a massive move. And to think we're not going to get some sort of retracement out of this is ludicrous. I mean, we're going to get one. And I think it would be healthy. I really do. I think it would be healthy for the market. I don't want to see this go like get outrageous, because if it does, it's just going to crash even harder. And I want to see Bitcoin succeed. I want to see it, stabilize and not just be so freaking, up, down, up, down, up, down, and nobody knows what the hell, and that drives people away. They don't want to see that. They want to see stability. It's a great looking chart. It's bullish, but I'm cautious. I'm real cautious right now.
That's why, you survived the bear market. That's why you'll be here.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I will be. Yeah. I mean, I'll be here 10 years from now telling people, hey, wait a second, look back here. Remember this?
Yeah. Well, honestly, between you and me, if I'm still here 3 years from now, I made a fatal error. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe just a cameo appearance on Twitter every now and then, just to say, hey, we were back here playing 2017 when you kids, didn't even know what Bitcoin was.
Exactly right.
If we lay out a good portfolio over the next 60 to 90 days, I think we have 60 to 90 days to get our act together. Well, you and I already have our act together and have our portfolio.
Sure.
Of the solid plays we're going to be in. I'd say 3 to 4 years max.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll still be around. I mean, I'm not. It's not like, I'm going to be a millionaire overnight. I mean, it just doesn't happen, right? That's for the few and far between. If they just, I've seen people on Twitter and they claim this and that, and some people might get lucky and they just may throw their entire investment at something and it goes to the moon and they quadruple their money and they're a millionaire, right? So good for them. But for this, to me, this is all about the little guys, right? And I consider myself a little guy. I consider myself a little guy. I'm right there with everybody else. I'm not one of these Wall Street, high-rise New York guys that, hey, follow me, do this, do exactly what I say, follow, do every trade I'm doing. No. I want everybody to be self-conscious and to learn this so that they don't have to rely on nobody else but themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's too many people on Twitter that I see that I could go on there right now and I could show you probably, I don't know how many people calling for 10,000 Bitcoin. Or there's some people calling for 4,000 Bitcoin. Don't be so in love with one person and their thoughts and their way of trading that you don't know what you're doing, right? And you're just following somebody. Don't just follow somebody. Learn this so that you can, and I think I've got guys in my group that have at least listened to what I've tried to teach as far as moving averages and Fibonacci and where to play stuff, that you can build a portfolio that, you don't have to go all in 100% on something. You don't. I absolutely hate it. You know, if somebody's got $1,000, let's say you got $1,000, and somebody says, "Oh my gosh, there's and I'll just throw DGB out there, $1,000. I'm gonna throw $1,000 at DGB, and that's all I've got, and I'm gonna pray that it goes to 200, you know, or it's sitting at 150, and you're praying it goes to 200. You know, no, don't don't do that. Throw maybe 1/8 or 1/4 of your capital at it. And if it does, then take your profits off the table and your investment and keep a little bit behind, and then just, you know, do it over and over again with other stuff. And then you build a portfolio. And if this stuff really does at some point take off to the moon, then you're in good shape. Yeah. But don't throw your whole capital at something. Never, ever.
Yeah. No, what you just said, I would have you tell my own kids that. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
oh, yeah.
Much I believe in what you said, yeah. Then also, I don't know what you feel. I think I know what you're going to say, but also I feel you don't need 500 coins. I think you need to do some research, and you know this from playing the legacy markets, the stock markets. If you get more than, I don't know, 4 or 5 stocks and trying to watch them and manage them and listening to the quarterly reports and the news, I mean, you're driving yourself crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So more than 5 coins, maybe even 3 or 4, I don't know. But, you know, you don't want to, I don't think you need to spread it out, you know, like a shotgun. Cause,
exactly right. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, you know, I know too many people that all they do is they will sit there and look at maybe 2-3 charts, and that's all they look at. They could care less what's going on with the rest of the market, because they know those 3 charts. They know how they react. They know what they do, and that's how they make their money, right?
Exactly.
It's like, I know this chart. I know it's going to dip back to here. It's going to retrace to there. You know, it's just sometimes. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I mean, all social media. Well, I say that, but we're sitting here, me and you, and I say it's toxic, right? But we're trying to help people. There's probably 80% of Twitter that's toxic, right? We're in the lower percentage that are trying to help people save their money and not get crushed, you know, like I was back in the day. You know, I mean, I'm doing this from experience, guys. I got crushed back in 2000 when the NASDAQ crashed. I got crushed. I was run over by a freight train.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't, you know, take any training or suggestions or anything from someone who has not been knocked down in the market. Okay.
Oh, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, Joe, is that a lot of these people that are on Twitter are claiming, you know, that, oh yeah, I've never had a down day, I've never lost money, I've never, you know, they're all pumping themselves up and they're sucking these guys in, and that's what really ticks me off. It's like, it just drives me absolutely crazy, and I want to, if I could beat them up, I would beat them up, because I don't want to see these guys do that to these people that are getting into, you know, crypto for the first time, and they're sitting there trying to figure out, okay, who do I trust and what the hell do I do? You know, do I just throw all my money in? Okay, he said it's going to 10,000. I'm going to dump it all in there. No.
Yeah.
Sorry. No.
And that's another thing. You can lose, even guys that halfway know what they're doing like us, you can lose your shirt quick chasing the next trendy, sexy coin, you know, whatever the coin.
Oh, yeah.
Walking in and out and doing that, because you, like you said, you don't know the chart, you don't know the patterns, you don't know, you know, the people behind it. even if the coin's running, 1,000% a day, I probably won't get in it if the people backing it, if I can't find any good positive information on them. I am kind of like Jim Cramer in the respect that, I like best of breed, coins.
Mm-hmm.
You can still lose your money, but it's going to be, a lot higher odds, higher percentages, sticking with the, best of breed. And, then we'll, I'll kick back, and we'll look at, the hot coins 3-4 years from now, and then we'll look at a good best of breed based on, today's market, because that's all the information we have. And in 3-4 years, we'll see which portfolio is still here, which is, stronger.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Well, and here's the thing, too, is that, I think what really gets a lot of people is they don't have realistic expectations, right? Most people think, that, hey, I've got $500. I'm going to get in Bitcoin. I'm going to make $1 million. No. You've got to have realistic expectations. You can't just, even if you've only got $200 to invest, don't think you're going to throw $200 in something and you're going to make $1 million. It doesn't happen. There's a such thing as compounding interest, right? And that's why I talk about building a portfolio, right? And swing trading stuff, right? You don't have to sit there and just, and swing trading to me is, it could be a 2-week view, it could be a month view, but to sit there and try to do something day to day is just absolutely ridiculous. You've got to stay away from the day to day stuff. It's like, Bitcoin's at 8,000 today. It may drop down to 7,800. Who cares, right? In the bigger scope of things, who cares if it drops 200 points, right? So, to me, it's like, let's focus on the bigger moves that might be happening. But anyway, I think we're on to something here, and let's just try to focus in on where things are going. I think obviously we've talked about it. We're going to get a pullback, but right now I think I want to open the channel. Does anybody have any charts they want to look at? Chart requests. I'm going to type it in here. Any chart requests.
Okay, JR, I might have to dip here on you in a second.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Next time you have a party, let me know, and I'll
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Yeah, I always like these, live streams with you. Honestly, you're like I'm talking to you like you're a politician, but you're not a politician. You really are for the little guy, and, I respect your opinion. And,
thank you.
You don't see me on any other live streams, so,
No.
we both have reputations we want to keep.
Absolutely.
Pristine. So, anyway, but I appreciate you. And,
Absolutely.
appreciate everybody, that took, a minute to come and hear us. But, all right, well, I'll, see you, or I'll, text you or something down the
Sounds
road.
good, Joe.
All
right, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So I'm going to... Okay, here we go. We got quite a few. Let me get Joe's stuff out of here. All right. I'm going to cancel, get him out of there. There we go. All right. So let's go over and look at some charts. Let's see. What do we got first? Michael wants to look at theta. And I actually kind of liked theta for a little bit. Let me see here. I think I had it in the chart. There we go. All right, so here we go with theta. Okay, so on theta, I mean, look at the nice, you got bottom, 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 bouncing off that bottom. What I kind of like about this is that it's forming kind of, in my opinion, kind of like a rounding type of bottom. And I had some fibs in here. And they're still playing out, actually. But it's above the 10 and the 20. It's above the 50 now, which is a very, very good sign. You still have the 200 right here, which is going to be resistance. There's a fib cluster up here around, what is that, 20? What is that, 2,000? So right up in here, this is resistance. Obviously, you can see where that was resistance right there at the 200. So, but I kind of like, I mean, it could chop around for a little bit longer, right? And maybe even dip down and retest down in here. Probably, what is that? Yeah, not far from here. It could dip down and test in here. But I like the way the moving averages are going right now. I mean, this has all the makings of one of those that could just, hold right, as long as it holds this level right here, which is what, 1,600, somewhere in that area. As long as it can hold like that area and just keep building off of it, then it looks good, right? But just be careful. I mean, it looks good right now, and it could just keep going, but I like the fact that it's above the 10 and the 20. Okay, that's theta. Let me go ahead and save that. Let's look at XRP, Ripple. I think I had a simple moving average on this one. Yeah, I did. I did that back on June 3rd. Okay, so testing the 50 EMA. Broke, let's get rid of that 50, that's out. Wow, that was kind of a fib cluster area, wasn't it? Let's see. So it broke. Oh, it broke the 78.6. And it broke the 50. Okay. Okay, so not like totally horrible. It's doing kind of like what I think everything else will do, is it'll come back and test the longer moving averages. So right here at the 50, testing it. And of course you got, let's do this, massive, right? Let's just throw it on there. The green line with the 61.8, massive support right here. And that's where the 200-day moving average is. That's where the 50 is. So right in this area at, what is that, 30? Yeah, somewhere between 35 and 36 cents. You got massive support, right? So somewhere in there might not be bad. But back up here, you got the 10, the 20 hooking down. Those will be resistance, right? If they cross each other. They haven't crossed each other yet. But I would say just hold off on anything probably until tomorrow or maybe Tuesday. Just to see what those moving averages do. I mean, not to say that you couldn't get a snapback rally or whatever and I would feel bad if, you didn't take advantage of it. But if you wanted to play it, you could buy now and have a stop, down here, It's kind of what my thinking is, at least. We knew these things were going to come back and test the moving averages after these big pumps that we're going to come back and test. Now the question is, can they hold and go higher? That's the question. Okay, so that is XRP. Let me save that. And let's go to Litecoin. Okay, so me and Joe kind of talked about this one earlier. What's really not to like about Litecoin right now is, it's just kind of chopping away to the upside, right? Just look at this. You're going to have little dips and valleys and whatnot, but all the moving averages are going good. It really looks good. I mean, so you got to pick your spot, personally, I think, as far as the Bollinger Bands go, I think it's probably going to base somewhere in the 108, 107 area, maybe right in here, before it actually tries to make another move to the upside. Not to say that it can't get down to, 90? Because it can. It could come back all the way and test the 100-day moving average, and that's at 81. But the lower Bollinger Band is what I'm looking at up here with the 50. That's 90 to 94. So if it drops hard, that's kind of area to watch. In my opinion. Let's see, what else? QTUM. Let's go look at that. Thought I had that one saved from somewhere in the past. Yep. Wow. Okay, so it's been since March since I looked at this. Let me take these off. Wow, still holding that uptrend line. Wow, I had this back in March. Look at this. Is this not crazy? The last time I looked at this chart was back in March. And I had drawn that line, that uptrend line. And look where it hits. It was like here, here, here. So do I need to really point out where your buy zone is? It's like, let me get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. Kind of a double top right in here. Okay. Let's draw a line on it. And let's change that. Oops. Let's get it over to red. Okay. So there's what you got on QTUM. I mean, 10 and 20. Man. Well, I would say for now, you could buy right here. Okay. Could. Okay. But beware that it might go down and retest that trend line. So just maybe a little bit below it, you got your 200-day moving average, which is, it's above now, which is a good sign. So everything could be like trying to hook back up. This could be, it's a summer stock play, right? So maybe it's off that trend line again before it breaks that resistance. If it does. Just needs watching, right? But holding that 50-day moving average, it's pretty strong. That's your key area right there. See how it held it right there? That's the one to watch. The 50 is in yellow, by the way, guys. 50-day moving average in yellow. All right, so that's QTUM. All right, DGB. Here we go. I haven't looked at DGB in a while. I still own it, but I just kind of hate it right now because it's ticking me off. Okay, so prices outside of Bollinger Bands. Let's do this retracement real quick. I want to see where it's at. So it hasn't quite made it to the 61.8. Let's see if that's a 50% retracement or not. Yeah, it is. Okay. So hitting the 50% retracement indicators are, yeah. I mean, it could still go lower. That 50-day moving average is a biatch right now. I mean, look at this. That thing has just killed it. I mean, absolutely, since it crossed down under it right there, it just, wow. That's your area to watch. If that thing can break above the 50-day moving average, then it's off to the races. But right now, and where is that 50? It's at 185. 185. I don't know that I would be touching it until it broke above that. I mean, you could try to swing trade a little bit if you wanted to maybe play the 61.8, which I think it'll probably get down to, maybe even the 78.6. But that kind of rounding, bottoming stuff, that is just, that pattern right there, I don't like that. That just needs to come down, I think, and then take off. But we'll see. All right, so that's DGB, XLM BTC. Let's look at that. I don't know if I have that one on BTC. Let me see. XLM. Nope, I don't. Okay, let me pull XLM BTC up. All right, so here we go. Ooh, wow. Okay. Wow, those Bollinger Bands are tight. Oh my. And again, this almost looks similar to DGB to me, right? 50-day moving average resistance. I mean, if it can pop above that, then it's got a chance. But right now, it's just kind of, it's holding that lower Bollinger Band. And what I kind of like about it is that once it gets above, I mean, right here, if it can just use that lower Bollinger Band as a springboard, it could go higher, right? That's the one thing about Bollinger Bands, because look back here, you know, of course, it was outside, came back in, goes back down, get a nice little reversal, but it bounces off that lower Bollinger Band up because things got way out of hand. But right now, I don't know. Let's see where the fibs are. Let's look at that though. Yeah, so it's sitting like, and it actually broke the 61.8 right back here. So but it's holding that area. So if it breaks this, 78.6 is your area to watch, okay, on the downside. And then if it breaks that, it's to me, I think it's going to new lows. But right now, I mean, we'll see. It's tight, real tight. Okay, so to properly draw fib extensions and retrace. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's just use this chart right here that I'm on, XLM, okay? And if you're following me, and follow this real quick, okay? So what I like to do on fib retracements is when you've got an obvious low, right, down here, and you got an obvious high up here, right? What I like to do is I take a fib retracement and just click it, okay? There's what you're looking at, right? Now, if you want to dive in a little bit further and zoom in, excuse me, you could do this. Zoom in, and now start looking at this swing low to this swing high. Click on them. And then, lo and behold, look what happens. You get what I call a cluster, right? So when you see like the 61.8 and the 78.6 line up on each other, that is a strong area of support. Huge, right? So draw multiple fibs if you have to. I mean, I recommend it. You know, one to there, one to here, draw this one to here. You get a little couple of lines that match up just perfect. And that tells me that right there is going to be a huge area of support. And it works in reverse, right? So if you're looking for an area to sell at, you know, you get these little clusters. So if you get a 61.8 and a 78.6 line up on each other, or a 38.2 and a 78.6, you know, those clusters are important. So the more you can get that line up in a certain spot, the better. That just tells you area of support, area of resistance. And so to me, on this one, I would be right here. That area has to hold. That cluster. If it doesn't, it's dropping down to here. Does that make sense? And you can use it on any time frame chart, right? 4-hour chart, 2-hour chart, whatever you want to use. You can do fib retracements and fib, you know, draw your Fibonacci's anywhere, everywhere. But try to draw multiple, you know what I'm saying? You got this one to here, that right to there, and then here to here, and you get a cluster. So play with it, you know what I'm saying? Play with it a little bit. Draw multiple fibs. And so I'm going to save that chart. XLM BTC. All right. Any other chart requests? Is it true that they were better? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely they do. I mean, especially if you're a swing trader, right? So if you're a swing trader, you know, let's look at it real quick. Let's just go to Bitcoin. Okay, and so here's a perfect example, all right? This is the weekly chart, okay? So if I draw a fib retracement from this low to this high, and if I go in and start drawing retracements, there's the 38.2, and there's the, it's already past the 23.6, right? So that just tells me it's gone, right? It's broke that. There's the 38.2, there's the 50. Let me change these colors. Yeah, I'll just leave it like that for now. So what does this tell me? It just tells me that the 10 EMA is coming up to the 38.2 retracement. And in my mind, what I'm thinking is that it's going to come down and it's going to test this area, which is 68.12. That's my thinking, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen today or in the next hour or whatever, but I think at some point in the next week or two, it's going to come down and it's going to test this. 38.2 is the next logical fib retracement. 68.12. Right? And I drew this fib up here, and look what happened. Okay? I drew this fib. See where this fib is? The 38.2 right there? That was from the all-time high to this low. And look where it got. It got almost to the 38.2. Almost. Not quite, but almost. So it doesn't have to hit right on the money. A lot of times, you know, some people say, oh, well, it didn't hit exactly that number. Well, it doesn't have to. That's an area to watch, right? And a lot of people are starting to get smart about stuff, and they want to sell or buy just below or or above it, or sell. So 38.2 right there, 38.2 right here where the 10 EMA is, and they're meeting. Does it have to hit there? It doesn't. It could actually be could just be right here, but look down below and look where the 50-day moving average is. Look where the 20-day moving average is. This green line right here, that's the key to the whole market right there. If this thing gets nasty, right? If it starts getting nasty, 5,600 is your area. That's your area to watch. Right there. Trust me. If it gets nasty, short term, and by all accounts, this candle pattern right here, if it closes the way I think it's going to, it could get short term nasty. And I say short term, I'm talking over the next month. But after that, who knows? July and August could just be go for the moon. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I would love to see, really, honestly. I would love to see this right here just drop, fill the gap, hit here, test these moving averages, and then boom. Take off. That's what I would like to see. That would be healthy. It would be really healthy, and it would test an old area of resistance, right? Which is now support. And that's why I got the green line in there. Because if I look over here, look at this. That's why I called the bull market. Because once it broke this, that's what started. I mean, it just boom, came down. Once it got back above that, that's what started it for me. So I want to see it come back down, retest that, and then take off. Well, I'll just tell you right now, that pattern right there it's nasty. Okay, it's technically an evening star, which means hard drop. But I will say this as a caveat, it does need confirmation. Okay? So there's any number of things can happen, right? So but that is one of my most favorite patterns right there of determining, and it works in reverse. It's called a morning star. And you've heard me talk about it before, but morning stars, evening stars, those are like powerful patterns. So right there, huge. That's just because you got all these buyers coming in, right? All these buyers, green sticks, green sticks, green sticks. All of a sudden you get a doji, which is indecision. People going, well, wait a second. Are we going higher here now, or are we what? Red stick, they're selling. And so that kind of gets the momentum of the selling going, right? So unless the bulls show up with major volume, and we have not seen major volume, this has been weak volume going into this. Unless we see big volume coming back in, this could retrace all the way back here. So June could be a nasty month. We'll see. We'll see. We'll be watching. We'll be keeping track on it. But that's what I see right now. Yeah, if they introduce global crypto regulations and stuff like that, I mean, or Bitcoin gets a ETF, or there's any number of things that could happen. But right now, I mean, this is just telling me that stay away. Just stay away. And if I'm wrong and this thing goes up to 8,000 or not 8,000, but if it goes up to 8,500, 9,000, hey, so be it. I'm wrong, but at least I'm not losing money, right? I'm not losing money. And I've still got some Bitcoin. It's not like I'm totally out of Bitcoin. I've still got some, but I'm 70% cash right now. And I said that last night. So I'll stay out of this right now until I start seeing what I want to see. And right now this is telling me to back the hell off. Okay, any other charts? Yeah, you guys are welcome, man. It's a pleasure to be able to help you guys. Um, let's see, what else can we look at? Bitcoin's being kind of nasty. Let's see here. I'll probably try to swing trade Bitcoin a little bit. Probably around, if it takes a decent little dip, if it breaks, what is that, low? If it breaks 74.67, that's where some stops are. If it breaks that, I'll probably try to swing trade it around 7,000, maybe 6,900, because I think that's when it might go into that to that right shoulder. Because these things just take time to play. It's not, they don't happen immediately. It's just a pattern that's developing. So that's what I'm looking at. Any altcoins or anything? Let's see. Hang on. I saw some people looking at talking about ADA, which I did not like, and I told you guys I didn't like it. Yeah, there we go. Was I not right about that one, guys? That was a bearish pennant, and people were trying to play this thing off as bullish. No, that's a bearish pennant. Broke out of it, so it's probably heading back down to, what is that? Probably sub 1,000? Yeah, sub 1,000. Might hold the lower Bollinger Band at right at 1,000. Yeah. Broke out of it to the downside. Okay. What else? Oh, Theta was one that was kind of interesting. And I think I actually had it on my trading view chart. Let me look at my trading view. Because I like to use it as well. Trading view, let's see here. Theta. Because I have the lines drawn on it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So I had this on Theta. All right. And so it's in this channel. Right? And look, it's retesting it again. Now, it bounced really nicely yesterday and hit the 50% retracement, and then it backed off. So, God, that's getting dicey. Oh, and it's right there holding the 10 EMA. Wow. If that fails, that is going to be massive to the downside. Massive. What else? RVN. Oh gosh. Bearish. Oh gosh. Bearish pattern on the candles now. 1, 2. Oh my gosh. Oh goodness gracious. We'll see. We'll see. Still a lot of trading left tonight. Candles are not closed. Things could change. This is just starting, so this could end up way up here. I mean, it looks bad right now, but that can change. Forgive the cats. What else can we look at? Now let's go over here and look at. We looked at XRP. Oh, yeah, there's XRP Ripple. It broke out of it just like the other, and the 10 and 20. Oh my. BAT. I really liked this one. Man, the market's just dragging it down. It just Look at this. Here's your thing on BAT, right? Look at this. I'm going to zoom in. There's just no volume whatsoever on this thing. Zero. There's like zero interest right now. 23.6 retracement. Can't pass it. Can't pass the 20 EMA. Just getting rejected every time it hits it. Look at this on BAT. Back here, rejection. 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 So the 20-day moving average, guys, on BAT, and I really like this one. I think it can fly when it gets going, but it's not going right now. But when it does, it can fly. All right? But it's got to get above the 20-day moving average. Failure here, failure there, failure here, here, and here. It's getting closer. It's testing it more often, right? So that leads you to believe that, you know, at some point it could break out, but if it gets above it, that's your key right there. Got to get above it. I really thought, to me, back in here, when it got above the 10 EMA and it looked good, and maybe it might just try to hold the 10 EMA and push it past, it couldn't. No, it's just weak. Just weak right now. Oh, really? Oh, BAT? See, guys, I don't know any... Here's the thing. I don't know any kind of, like, fiscal stuff about these things. I have no idea what any of these cryptos do. I really don't. I just look at the charts. So, and I think a lot of times, I think that kind of helps me, is that I don't know about them, you know? Because the charts will tell me everything I need to know. What else? Let's see. I think... Oh, FET. That was one that I put in there because I saw a lot of people talking about it. And lo and behold, look at this. Let's take out the 38.2. Broke that. 50% retracement. Still holding the trend line here. Came back inside that. Bad is? Okay, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll look it up. Thank you. Here's another one of my old-time favorites, ONT. Oh, wow. Really? Wow, what is going on here? This is probably one of the only green ones out there. What is going on with this one? Look at this. Got to move off the, this triangle that it's in, the bottom part of it. Can this thing actually make a move up here? That would be 1900. That'd be about a 10% move if one was willing to try to risk it. Wow. ONT. Interesting. What else is out there? ICX. That was a cult favorite there for a little bit. No. No. Don't like it. Don't like it just yet. hot was one of those. Look what happened to that. That's why you don't FOMO, guys, right? I think I can remember on Twitter there was a lot of guys going, oh, this is going to 40 or whatever the hell they were calling for. No. Things correct, right? Now, I will say this. If it can stop the dump that it's in right now, that's an inverse head and shoulders, right? Look at this. Shoulder, shoulder, head. But it's got to hold this level right in here where it's at. Can't go any lower. If it can hold 22, 20, somewhere in that area, and then bounce off. Let's see what kind of retracements we got here. Hang on, let's look at this. Haven't done the fib retrace on this. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Okay, this one got interesting. Okay, so when I talked about evening stars, for instance, on the Bitcoin weekly chart, I'm going to show you what it looks like in reverse and what happens, guys. Look at this. Okay? Now, if you look at my Bitcoin weekly chart and you see what the pattern was, and I showed you, right? Well, here's the inverse. This is the opposite, right? This is a morning star, right? So basically, you got a reversal pattern right here. You got a big, huge downtrend, right? And then you got an indecision candle and then a big green stick to reverse the downtrend. And then look what happens. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand that? How it works? And so when you get into something like this, you see that pattern, right? Okay, you just hold off. You're not doing anything, right? Because you're waiting for it to play out. And then you watch your moving averages and you're like, okay, well, wait a second. It got above the 20, got above the 10, so you could wait on your retrace and then you get in. And then you could play it for, God, what is that? It's not much, but percentage-wise, it's probably pretty good. Went up to 29.31. So pretty nice little retracement. That right there is a reversal pattern, but it's not an evening star because this candle did not get down to this candle. To be able to do an evening star or morning star, you got to reverse that entire candle. This one did. Or it got even 2, which counts. But now when you reverse, you zoom out a little bit and you start looking at this, and this candle still plays, right? Because it's a longer term candle pattern. You could actually sit there and say, is this an inverted head and shoulders? Possibly. I mean, does it bounce off the 61.8 or just short of it and then take off again? Indicators are low. Stochastic RSI is down at the bottom. Volume is still weak, but we all know that volume is what makes things go, right? So Let's zoom in a little bit. Still got some red volume, still sellers. So it's one of those just to watch, right? Could have an inverse head and shoulders before it takes off again. Or it could just keep diving lower. And that's hot. Let's see, what else we got? Buddy of mine had me look at data. Let me see what data looks like. Nah. Don't like it. Let's see. BNB. What is this? Still holding the trend line. Holding the moving averages. Slightly bullish here. I don't like this stick back here where it reversed. That was bearish engulfing. Kind of a reversal right there. It needs to get back. BNB needs to get back above the 78.6 for me to get really bullish on it. Otherwise, it's just all noise. This is just noise right here. You know, that's just noise. Litecoin. Yeah, I went over that one earlier. Let's take a look at it again. Now I'll look at it on TradingView. Okay. So here's kind of what I got. And let's do this. I don't think I've done it on TradingView on this one. Let's see. So I'm going to do a fib retracement. And this will be a perfect one for the guy that was asking me about how to do retracements or fibs. So I'm going to draw one from here to here. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of the ones that it's past. So I get rid of the 6178.6, 1.272, and you can see where it's bumping its head on this 161.8, right? So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, right? And I'm going to do another fib retracement. Why not? Here to that low. And lo and behold, look what happens. Okay, I don't need to change anything. And I've got a fib cluster sitting right here at 121. Right? So to me, okay, I'm not touching Litecoin until it breaks 121. Just not. Now I could do another fib retracement from here. Oops. No. Hang on. Let me zoom in a little bit more, get it more accurate. Actually, I think I already did this one. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah. Let's draw another one. From here to here. And I'll bet you something is going to line up with it. Maybe not. 1.272. There we go. All right. Okay. So to me, in my view, right, based on fibs, based on resistance, I'm not touching Litecoin. And you can see where it's hit fib retracements multiple times right here around 120-ish. I'm not touching it. I'm not falling for it. I mean, it's going to have to show me. I mean, it's doing a nice job of holding 10 EMA, the 20's right below it. That's still bullish, right? But I have a hard time after a double top trusting something. Right? And so I would rather be, and that's the conservative side of me, right? I'm not one of those that's going to go, oh yeah, it's going to pop all the way up here. I'm not one of those guys. I'm sorry, guys. I'm conservative, and if it doesn't make you a lot of money, I'm sorry, but I'm conservative. I'd rather hold on to my capital and be safe with it. I do like the price action. I mean, I love this, but I want to see it make another high. I mean, I like that bounce right there, but I want to see it make another high. Oh, very nice. Oh, good job. S Finder. Very nice. On one, and I almost mentioned this when me and Joe were talking about it, about these newfangled coins that are coming out. And guys, I will tell you this. I will never, ever, and I'm going to pull it up. If I can, let's see. Harmony. There we go. Let's pull it up. There it is. All right. Okay. So, why would I buy something like this? Right? Why? Just saying. I get it, right? Everybody wants to FOMO into this thing, right? Because it had this, and this. But I'm sorry. I've got this chart up and I did the retracements on it and whatnot. But I'm like, there is not enough data on here for me to even think about playing this. I'm not. I'm just not going to. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want to. I'm not. At all. And I'm going to take these off, these fib retracements. I mean, I just don't, unless I've got moving averages and data to go off of, I'm not playing that. I'm not falling into that trap. I'm not doing it. No way. I had one of my friends tell me about it, and I'm like, nope, not touching it. No way. I mean, it might make some nice moves here and there, but at the end of the day, I've got to have more data to go off of. So, I would say good luck is all I can say on that one. I would much rather go to something that's got more data and more indicators, more stuff to go off of that I can look at. You know what I'm saying? And you can call me stupid if you want, but that's fine. Okay, any other chart requests? Anything else to look at? Let's see, what else is going on? Dog. You know what? I'll tell you what. Somebody mentioned this the other day, and they said altcoins will only go when dog goes. And they're almost right in a way. You know, look at this thing. I have no idea what this company does. I don't know what they do. I have no clue, but it just seems like lately every time dog goes, the rest of the market goes. That's weird. That's just risk, I guess. People taking a risk on stuff and they risk it on everything else. What else can we look at? MLN? I don't know what the... Ugh. Had that one in there, but I don't like these crazy wicks that came out of nowhere, and it's just in a steady downtrend. Oh, dog is a LTC fork? Really? I didn't know that. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Did not know that. ENG. Let's go look at that. ENG. I think I got that one in here. That was a popular one there for a while. Okay. I don't like the bearish engulfing at the top. Still holding the 10 to 20 though. That's positive. Stochastic RSI has crossed over, so could see some more downside. Let's do some retracements on this and see where it might land. So you got this one to here, and let's just do this. Yeah, it looks like a 61.8. Yep. 78.6. All right, there's one. And the other one's going to be pretty darn close, I think. Let's do this. Fib low to high. And there we go. All right. So right now on ENG BTC, there's your fib retracements right there. You would like to see it hold this area where the 10, the 20 are. And that's what, 61.12 to 63.11? That's the area you want to hold. That's the area. And then, of course, you got I drew that fib retracement right there on a retracement. See how it almost gets to the ones? See, that's the thing about fibs. You got to watch they get close, but not too. So, we'll see. Still bullish, though. I mean, it's 10, 20 is above each other. You just don't want to see them cross back under each other. So if this can burn off and come down and still hold right here, then you got enough momentum built up to make a move higher. Okay, and that's ENG. What else we got? Oh, I haven't looked at NEO in a while. What's NEO doing here? Wow. Nothing. In fact, this is what I would do on this. Oops, let's see. And it broke it, I think. Yeah. Kind of a bearish triangle. Ugh. Yeah. I don't know if they can break back up in and go up, that would be bullish, but let's see what happens. That just looks kind of bearish to me. What else we got going on? Let's go back and look at the futures chart. I haven't looked at it in a while. And there we go. Interesting. So right here, we got obviously support. It's done it before. It's at 74.40. Trying to do a little hammer type thing, but here's what I would watch for. Right? Everybody thinks pump, 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 right? Well, what do we got? The blue line is the 20 EMA. The red one up here is the 10. Okay? This is the futures chart of Bitcoin. So the question now is, we knew that the 10 is acting as resistance now, right? So now, is the 20 going to become resistance? Can it get back above, what, 7,700? 7,710? If it can, it's bullish, right? And get back above the 10, which is sitting at 7,900. So, to me, 8,100 is your area, which, ironically enough, I think I said that like a week ago, but I raised that to 8,400 thinking that the right shoulder might be in that area. That's why I would want to get above that area, just to negate the right shoulder of the head and shoulders pattern. But right now, I mean, getting a nice little relief, relief move here. And who knows, this could play out and bounce off the lower Bollinger Band and go right back up. We'll see. Right now, I'm sitting tight. Sitting tight on this one. Any other chart requests? Put them in channel. I'll be back in just 2 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm back. Does anybody have any chart requests? Anything they want me to look at? All right, guys. Well, if that's it, or does anybody have any questions about Fibonacci, retracements, how I do stuff, please speak up. This is the time to talk. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to cut out of the channel here. If y'all have any questions, then obviously, you know, the Discord channel, you can go in there and I'll answer anything you got. So appreciate you coming in here, and we'll chat soon. Take care, guys.